Some people think Rome was destroyed by barbarian invasions or corruption, but it was destroyed by something far quieter, something almost no one noticed at first. They rot from within. By the time Rome fell, its money was almost worthless, not due to invasion or war, but because the empire destroyed its own currency. The lessons from that collapse still hold true for any modern economy that believes it can manipulate money without consequences. Now, let's lay the groundwork. The denarius and trust. For centuries, Rome's economy relied on a silver coin, the denarius. Soldiers were paid with it, taxes collected, and merchants accepted it. People trusted it and saved it. The denarius worked because it contained real silver. Early coins were nearly pure, giving them intrinsic value. Its worth didn't depend on laws or promises. Trust spread naturally. Trade grew, and Roman money traveled far beyond the empire. As long as the silver stayed honest, confidence remained strong. But trust is fragile. Rome was about to face pressures it had never seen before. Expansion brought land, resources, and security, but also permanent obligations. Borders had to be defended, provinces managed, roads maintained, and grain shipped to cities. The army was the biggest cost. Soldiers expected pay, pensions, and rewards. Loyalty depended on-time payment. Stop pay, and rebellions followed. Taxes helped, but only so much. Too high and farmers left land, merchants hid income, and unrest grew, creating even more military costs. To solve this, Rome turned to a solution every empire thinks it can control. Debasement begins. Debasement means reducing the precious metal content in coins while keeping the same face value. The coin looks the same. The stamp is the same, but inside, the metal is cheaper. Early on, the change was subtle. A little less silver mixed with base metals. Most people didn't notice right away. The government could mint more coins from the same amount of silver. That meant more money to pay soldiers and expenses without raising taxes. At first, it seemed to work. Payments continued, armies stayed loyal, projects moved forward. But money does not stay quiet when its quality changes. People may not know the percentages, but they notice weight, color, and sound. Over time, merchants started charging more. Soldiers asked for higher pay. Prices adjusted upward. The response from the state was predictable. More debasement. More coins, more volume. Each round made the problem worse. Under early emperors, the denarius still held most of its silver. Over generations, that changed. By the early 3rd century, the silver content had dropped sharply. Later emperors pushed it even further. Eventually, the denarius contained almost no silver at all. It became a bronze coin with a thin silver coating. The appearance tried to preserve trust. The substance could not. Once that line was crossed, confidence collapsed. People stopped treating coins as stores of value. They treated them as something to get rid of quickly. That shift changed everything. Inflation surged. Goods that once cost one coin cost many. Prices changed faster than wages. Savings lost meaning. Soldiers demanded pay in kind or higher amounts. Merchants refused debased coins altogether. Money no longer connected the economy. It fractured it. And when money fails, daily life breaks down first. Ordinary Romans paid the price. Inflation hit people who lived on fixed incomes the hardest. Soldiers, laborers, and city residents struggled as prices rose faster than pay. Farmers faced another problem. Taxes were demanded in coins that bought less and less. Many walked away from land rather than farm for a loss. Trade slowed. Barter returned in many areas. Gold and foreign coins replaced Roman silver where possible. Local economies isolated themselves because trust in currency disappeared. The state reacted with force. But the more Rome tried to enforce the system, the more people avoided it. This financial breakdown fed directly into political chaos. Between the mid-3rd century and late 3rd century, Rome entered one of its most unstable periods. Emperors rose and fell rapidly. Many were killed by their own troops. Civil wars overlapped with invasions and plagues. Behind that chaos sat a broken financial system. The state could not reliably fund the army. The army could not reliably protect the borders. Each failure fed the next. Tax collection collapsed in many regions. Trade routes became unsafe. Cities shrank. Local power replaced centralized authority. Rome still existed, but it no longer functioned as a unified system. Money was no longer binding the empire together. And this is the point where the system stops bending and starts breaking. Price controls and force. One emperor attempted a drastic solution. Prices would be fixed by law. Wages, food, transport, labor, all assigned official limits. Violators faced severe punishment. The logic seems simple. If prices stop rising, stability returns. But price controls cannot repair money that people distrust. Sellers withdrew goods. Black markets spread. Official trade slowed further. Enforcement created fear, not confidence. People learned quickly that laws could not fix a coin that no one trusted. The policy failed and the economy continued to fracture. Eventually, Rome accepted that its old money could not be saved. Gold returns too late. A new gold coin was introduced later, made with consistent purity. It restored stability in some areas, especially in the eastern part of the empire. Gold worked where silver had failed because it reset trust. But the damage in the Western Empire was already deep. Trade networks were broken. Tax systems were weak. Armies were underfunded. Local powers had replaced central authority. Gold stabilized what remained, but it could not rebuild what had already collapsed. The empire did not fall in one moment. It unraveled over generations, and currency decay was one of the sharpest threads in that unraveling. This pattern did not stop with Rome. The pattern repeats. Rome provides an early example, not a unique one. Later societies followed similar paths. Governments facing rising costs turned to money creation or debasement. Short-term relief replaced long-term stability. The pattern remains consistent. Money is altered to cover expenses. Prices rise, trust weakens, people with real assets protect themselves. People dependent on wages and savings suffer first. Rome shows how long this process can take. Collapse does not require sudden disaster. It requires sustained erosion. That erosion always starts quietly. Romans living during the early empire believed their system was permanent. Their coins had worked for centuries. Their roads were unmatched. Their army seemed unstoppable. They could not see the long-term damage happening inside their currency. Each small change felt manageable. Each adjustment felt necessary. No single decision destroyed Rome. Together, they did. When money stopped representing real value, contracts weakened, trade slowed, loyalty faded, authority lost credibility. The empire still had walls and legions, but the foundation underneath them was compromised. Rome's story is not about ancient mistakes. It's about how financial systems fail when trust is treated as expendable, and that leads to the lesson history keeps repeating. Empires rarely die from one blow. They weaken from internal decay. Currency breakdown accelerates that decay faster than almost anything else. Rome learned this lesson over centuries. History has repeated it many times since. The pattern has never disappeared. So that leaves us with one question. If the pattern never disappeared, what makes every empire believe it is different? Let us know in the comments section below. We've also added credible sources and data references in the YouTube description, so you can verify details yourself.